Hey, what's up guys? UrAvgWarGamer back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about the commander skills for all the battleships right now of all nations. So I'm gonna talk about the Japanese battleships builds, uh, the British, the American, the German, the Russian, all those battleships of each nation. And these are my tested builds, and I find them relatively comfortable after testing them for long, like almost more than a week. And I feel that they are probably gonna be suitable for every player who plays of course this game. So I'm gonna talk about first of all the IGN battleships. Now, first of all, I'm gonna talk about Musashi, or like Yamato in particular. These battleships, you, I mean, this gonna work. The Yamamoto Isoroku, it's gonna work on all the IGN battleships. So if you have, for example, Ki, if you have Mutsu, you have Ashitaka, the premium battleships, it's gonna work extremely well. They're gonna get a lot of value from it, especially if it's Yamamoto Isoroku, because it has improved hard traverse or grease the gears and improved maintenance preventive, so your turret's not gonna get knocked out that easily, or engine for example. So Musashi, you want to build is as a sniper build, which is the Deadeye. The Deadeye works because it improves the main battery dispersion by 10%. It improves while there's no ship, no spotted ship, okay, within your detection. So this is gonna work really well with any IGN premium battleships. And you want to specialize it for Yamato because Yamato is a legendary battleship, and in my opinion you should put that on Yamato anyway. Yamamoto works really well with Yamato, Shikishima, Musashi, or even the Heisen or Heisen, or whatever you call it. It works really well with Heisen. So this is IGN build. Let's talk about the American battleship builds, or yeah, let's talk about American battleships. For example, if you have secondary battleships like Georgia, Ohio, and Massachusetts, it's this build that you are seeing right into your screen. It's gonna work extremely well. Now, first of all, you have the gun feeder, which basically improves the cell, like it improves the time taken to switch shell types. So if you want to switch from HE to AP, it takes 75% less time to reload. As simple as that, when your gun is reloaded, of course. So this curve works really well if you're brawling in, because if your battleship bows in, you can switch to HE and you can set some fires. And secondaries are also setting some fires, so you have some sort of range, which I also spec it with secondary battery firing range. Improves 20%. So with this build, hopefully you will have the secondaries 10.8 kilometer, but it gets to 11.3 with the flag, with the secondary flag that you can get from this section. If I just clarify this, if you just pick this Mike Yankee Sussex, you can improve it to 11.3. So it's gonna work really well. I go for the fire prevention, the heal, and then I go for the close quarters combat because it improves the reload time when something is in your secondaries, and then it also improves the secondary battery reload time. So that's gonna work really well. In my opinion, it works well. You can also opt in for the Deadeye, but these ships actually are a bit more efficient when you are brawling, because you have secondaries even though they nerfed it, but you just don't spec for them, right? You just want the secondary to set fires or hit anywhere onto the superstructure, or basically on the part of a battleship, so that they set fires, or maybe they do some pen damage, although they don't have this penetration to do that. So I find this really viable. If you only gonna have one fire on your superstructure, you have a lot of heals because you have improved heal reload time, so you just can be able to quickly heal up your ship's HP in a shorter time. So it works really well for me. It's gonna work for the Georgia as well, and it's gonna work for the Massachusetts. So this build works well for American secondary battleships particularly. This is also gonna work well for Oklahoma, because Oklahoma let me show you. It's a tier 5 premium battleship. So I should tell you that. Where is that? Oklahoma. This also have improved range secondary, so if you get the secondaries, like, you can also put the hull and it's also gonna work well. Well, for the meme, right? So because it already have very atrocious reload time of the guns, so you can also build this like this. So this is American premium secondary battleship build, and I use Halsey because, well, when you get Confederate, you get improved battery reload time, which is really good. Okay, so let's talk about the other American battleships, for example, like Montana and Vermont, because they are not secondary focus. So what you want to make them build for is either you can go for tank build, which I did for the Montana. It's my choice. Just don't want to make that ship like on a Deadeye, although it's gonna work really well with Deadeye because it already have very good dispersion on its guns. You can always do that, but I find and tested this build and it works pretty well for me. Fire prevention, concealment, extra heal, adrenaline rush, of course, and then you have this improved repair party, reload time, and of course the damage control party. So this works for me, but I did that only for the Montana. For the Vermont, I just fully go for Deadeye, so you have insanely good dispersion on the guns, which Vermont already has, but this thing will make it even more scarier for any broadside battleship or cruiser. But because I have John Doe, it also have improved gun feeder and improved turret traverse, so this works pretty damn well for me. You can always go for priority target or emergency repair expert or specialist, or you can always go for basic survivability to basically tank some fire damage or flood in general. So this is that. Okay, let's go for the Russian battleships. Russian battleships really like tankiness, right? They are designed, for example, the Lenin and the Kremlin. I trained this for Kremlin. I'm gonna use the Nikolai Kuznetsov specifically for the Russian battleships. What I do, I basically, this is actually the only the nation that I basically take out the concealment, because they already are very tanky, really tanky, and putting fire prevention over concealment I felt is better, while I still have the Deadeye skill regardless. So even though the concealment might be really not that good looking, but still, if you're kiting away, and most of the time cruiser doesn't want to get into your detection or spotting range, right? Most of the time it's gonna be DD, but it might be undetected. It won't be shooting you or anyone. So the dice skill is still gonna work regardless of how bad the concealment is most of the time. I would say better concealment is better with that eye, but I decided this because if something close enough against Lenin and Kremlin, the Soviet battleships already have this improved dispersion ellipse compared to any other Tech 3 nation. So, well, if something is pushing in, the Soviet perk kicks in, like better dispersion ellipse. But if something is like out of your range, like not within brawling range, or basically around like 17-18 kilometers, that die skill still works well, and I've tried this and it works for me. Although you can always go for concealment expert, but for me this is really viable if you want to push at some point. Okay, now I'm going to talk about German battleships. Now this build that you are seeing, with this I don't have the points, but I will use the close quarters combat. Well, this works pretty damn well because, well, if you have Bismarck, Tirpitz, Pommern, or Odin, or Kurfürst, for example, you can use this build and it works well for especially with Gunther Luthians, because Gunther Luthians give secondary battery reload time by 15% less when you have 100 secondary hits on anything. So the thing is with the Germans is why I go for this. The thing is that if you have improved penetration, like if your HE and AP, HE hit on any part most of the time on a superstructure or basically the bow or stern, it might do pen damage. So any secondary hit on a battleship cruiser gonna give you damage. So you still need to improve the dispersion, and then you're gonna get this close quarters combat attack skill, which actually improves even better the secondary battery reload time and main battery reload time. So if something is within your brawling range, you will get the value from close quarters expert or combat. So then I have obtained for the long range secondary battery shells, and then adrenaline rush, and of course fire prevention, because well, fires are more of a problem, and heal might not be the best thing when you're brawling, because you're gonna die anyway if you get focus fire quickly, and you won't be able to use that last heal that you really want to kick in to the German ship. They don't have improved reload time of heal compared to American secondary premium battleships, right? So I did not go for emergency repair expert, particularly for Germans. I go for this build, and IFHE for Pommern, Tirpitz, and not for Odin. Pommern, Tirpitz gonna, and the Bismarck, yeah. So IFHE gonna work well because you have, I think, 26mm of pen, and now you get to 32mm of pen with this skill. So this is gonna work well. You can always go for improved turret traverse, or of course preventive maintenance, because it's improved as well. So well, your gun's not gonna knocked out that easily, which works well. Let's go for Italian battleships. Well, if you have Luigi Sansonetti, which is basically a legendary commander for Italian ships, it works well because if you get, for example, Confederate, well, if you get one kill, for example, your main battery firing range increases, which really works well for generally the Italian battleship, because they don't have the best of the main battery firing range in the first place. And of course, if you get Confederate, your main battery reload time gets improved by 15%, which is pretty damn good. So this works well for, I would say, every premium Italian battleship in my opinion. Regula Cesare, Roma, and even those upcoming Italian battleships that might be touching in the next update will also gonna get from this benefit from this skill. So Deadeye, of course, you don't want to tank, even though they are relatively tanky battleships, but still you want to go for Deadeye because, for example, on Roma it works amazingly well because Roma doesn't have the best of the dispersion, and Deadeye will actually fixes that situation. Then you have extra heal, and then you go for concealment because they have pretty damn good concealment. Roma has 11.7, Gulo Cesare has 11.9, so it just makes sense to use concealment rather than fire prevention to make them even more better in concealment. So this works well with Italian battleships in general. Okay. Let's go for the British battleships. Well, it's kind of the very basic and simple build. You go for Deadeye, and that's about it. You go for the turret traverse, priority target. This is really up to you if you really want to get priority target or emergency repair specialist or not. If you don't want to take these things, you can always go for basics of survivability to improve the tankiness against fires and floods. And expert loader is really good. I really like this on British battleships simply because they have very good ammunition of both types. HE is insane, seriously. Like, HE is the best thing in the game, like in terms of effectiveness when something is bow in. So yeah, it's no brainer to use HE. And then yeah, so and then you just pick, hey, if you have this gun feeder, you're gonna get a lot of value from when you are switching ammunition, so just gonna work well. For French battleships, well, it's also pretty simple because, for example, if you have Pippo Bonio, which is the legendary captain, I don't have it, but if you have one, try to use that. If you don't have one, go for the Charles Henry Honor, which is also pretty good because it also gives you the adrenaline rush improvement and as well as turret traverse. So for John Bart, Bourgogne, this works extremely well, along with the expert loader, because the gun's caliber is 380mm, so sometimes you might need to switch to HE to farm damage, which is the unfortunate truth in this game. You have to switch to HE, which, yeah, actually works effectively regardless. Kind of brain dead, but yeah, that's how the game design is. So there it is. Deadeye works well because They have improved concealments, and you don't want to tank in these ships. Don't want to use fire prevention. You're just gonna disengage and shoot the broadsides. So there's that. It's gonna work well on I think all the French premium ships. I've tried out Jean Bart, Bourgogne, and Strasbourg, but I'm sure it's gonna work on Dunkirk, and I think Gascoigne and Champagne. Champagne, like, is the bread and butter for Champagne. It's the perfect build for Champagne because Champagne is already designed as sniper, and you don't want to tank in that ship anywhere. Alright guys, I think that is for this video. I think I covered up everything that I possibly need to, and if you have any suggestion for the build, or you think that this build might not be the best, comment me down below so that I know that I might need to change this build myself. Otherwise, I have tried and tested out these builds, and it works for me well. It's simple as that. I have tested this for a week, and I find out this is really comfortable, and I actually get, at least on the guns that are specifically not the best, like inaccurate, it's gonna work even well because of the Deadeye. And the guns that are already accurate, they get even more accurate, and I don't need to tell you how devastating the guns can be now, especially in the Thunder and Vermont. Well, it's sort of disgusting in my opinion. But anyway guys, I hope you liked the video. Well, if you do like it, please subscribe to my channel, because I'm gonna be uploading even more videos in the next sessions. Peace out.